was very, very, very different than my little fashion haul Forever 21 thing that I did before. I want to tell you why I'm making this video. So this video is going to be about me having bipolar disorder, and this is something a lot of people don't even know it about me. I only really told a couple of people. I don't even talk about it really with them. I believe it's type 2. The doctor who diagnosed me a couple of times before I stopped going because her rates was ridiculously high and I couldn't afford to go as much as she needed me to go. Or do I have pain? I have pain on my forehead. I'm sorry, y'all, because I was paying. But anyway, yeah, I only went to that doctor a little bit because her rates were like ridiculously high and I could not afford to. The only doctor who told me that, I went for a second opinion and was told the same thing. But the second doctor really pushed medication, really was pushing for me to get on medication. I'm kind of scared of it. I'm not really too sure about it. I'm still doing my research on it. I've been like looking it up and watching videos and stuff like that. But anyway, I just know how to talk, don't I? So like I was saying, my main reason for making this video is because when I was doing research on like medication and like what it's like to be bipolar and how to deal with it, I really didn't see women of color, number one, and young women of color, number two, or just young women period, or people that I felt like I wanted to watch their video because we would relate or be on the same kind of wavelength. I don't know. I feel like even if I only get 1 view or 2 views, hopefully all the people that see my video, they'll be able to see like themselves in me is what I want. But okay, getting into it, what is bipolar disorder? For people who don't know, a lot of people think that bipolar disorder is just like, when people say bipolar, number one, it has a negative connotation. And I mean, I can't really speak on that because I still kind of sometimes view it as a negative thing, or most of the time view it that way. But it's really looked down upon, which is kind of like makes you feel isolated, but we'll get into that later. Anyway, bipolar disorder is basically not just like fast mood swings. It's not happy, sad, mad, happy, sad, mad. Bipolar disorder is, I'm sorry for my background, it's a mess, but anyway, bipolar disorder is and you can have depression. So most people know what depression is. Depression is like usually just like being sad, but it can also be like being angry, like lashing out, having short temper, stuff like that. Feelings of loneliness, you know, sometimes you get suicidal thoughts and things of that nature. Mania or hypomania. I think there's a difference between mania and hypomania. I think hypomania is like the lesser version of it, but basically mania is, it can also be seen when you're angry, but most of the time, or at least in my case, a lot of times, it's more so just like a rush of energy, happiness. Like I will talk a lot and I'll talk really fast, and I will dance and say things I wouldn't usually say, do things I usually wouldn't do. You can be a lot like more, you can be a lot more interested in things like sex, or you might want to fight because you just feel invincible. Like you cross streets without looking, which I tend to do a lot when I'm going through mania, and like just thinking that nothing can touch you. So sometimes you can end up putting yourself in danger or other people in danger. Also know sometimes when I deal with mania, I might be very argumentative and just like on edge a lot, and like I will just say things like and make rash decisions. A lot of times, like if I'm fighting with like my boyfriend, or if or anything like that, or like I'm being like really rude and sassy, it's probably because I'm going through mania. But yeah, so in my own case, like I deal with, I don't really have like an exact map or schedule, or like I can't really expect when either my depression or my mania will come, or when I'm just like in between in balance. It's just like really just like catch 22. You just never know what you're gonna get with me, which is one of the major reasons why I'm kind of considering getting on medication, but a lot of times I have really rapid cycles of depression and mania between the two of them. Like, I can be in mania tomorrow, and then the next day just be super depressed. And sometimes my depression can last for a day, or it could last for 3 weeks, or it could last for a month, or it could last for 2 months. A lot of times I will say that it depends on what's going on in my life, but even when everything is going fine, I can fall into depression like no problem. So yeah, recently, or like currently, I've been like very, very depressed. There's many factors as to why, but the more depressed I get, the worse it gets, because my depression is causing problems of its own. Like, right now I'm searching for a job, and sometimes with depression, you don't want to get up out of bed. You sleep a lot, or at least I sleep a lot sometimes, or sometimes I don't sleep at all. Or just like, I don't know, your sleep schedule gets messed up, and you just don't feel like yourself. Like right now, like very few things make me excited. Actually, really nothing at this present moment makes me excited. I try to do things that I like painting or listening to music, but it's really hard for me to do those things, because it usually doesn't come out good if I'm painting, or I can't really get into listening to music like that because I just don't feel like it. Even recently, like my boyfriend, he's been reaching out to me, trying to talk to me, and a lot of times I don't feel like talking to him. I don't know his phone calls. It's not because I don't care about him or I don't like him. It's just because I feel depressed, and when I feel depressed, it's hard for me to communicate with people. And so, like I said, back to where I was going with that, with the whole job thing. I'm looking for a job right now, and it's really hard for me to have the energy to go on interviews and be like the person I know I can be, energetic and nice and like a people person. Like, it's really hard for me. So I've been bombing interviews left and right, and I just feel like, well, if I keep going down this route, then I'll never have a job. But then not having a job is really a major part of why I'm depressed. So it's really hard, and I'm trying to like kind of balance myself out and like push through it, but it is very challenging. Another thing that I feel like my bipolar disorder is kind of messing with right now is my relationships with other people. Like I said, for example, my boyfriend, when he calls me, I can't really talk to him or be the person I know that he wants me to be or he expects me to be. And I haven't disclosed to him just yet about me being bipolar, but I would be like, yeah, I can see that, because the way I act is ridiculous. Happy, sad, all that crazy stuff I be doing. It's just like, he should know, but he wouldn't know unless I told him. But anyway, yeah, so I haven't told him really, so he kind of is a little bit confused about like, why do I act the way I act? Why is it we can have a great conversation yesterday, and then today I'm not answering his calls, and when we do talk, I'm crying or whatever. I cry a lot. Also messing with like my relationships as far as my family. And this is a really important topic. Bipolar disorder has like completely effed my family life in the butthole. Recently, it's becoming more of like a thing where people are like, black people have mental illness too, but for a really long time, and even still right now, people believe that mental illness does not affect people of color, which is completely wrong. So because of that whole stigma, stereotype that black people can't deal with mental illness and blah blah blah, a lot of times black family members, like, well, I'm black on both sides, so like my family, they don't really understand completely what it is like to be bipolar or how to deal with me, since I am bipolar. So it makes them a little bit more distant from me, or makes me feel kind of isolated, because I don't think that any of them will really understand me if I did tell them what's going on. Or a lot of times, like when I have tried to talk about it with my family members, people like my sister or my mom would tell me that I should just try to be happy. They don't know what I want them to do for me. And it's like, I don't really know what I want them to do for me either, but it would be nice for them to kind of like listen and hear me out and not really make it feel like it's a weird discussion to have, or like they're trying to rush through it so we don't have to talk about it anymore. Or a lot of times, like, my mom will say like, what do I need to do? Put you on medication? Or like, do I need to take you somewhere? Do I need to call somebody to come and get you? And stuff like that really, really hurts, because it's just like, I don't want to feel like I'm not normal. I don't know. It just, I don't know. The whole just try to be happy thing, it's like, it's unrealistic. Don't you think I would choose to just wake up and be happy and be in a good mood? Because I love when I feel good, when I can be happy and do whatever. Or like, a lot of times I'm gonna be like, oh, your period's just coming, but I mean, 3-4 weeks before my period comes, and be still in depression during the week of my period, and after the week of my period, and the next week after that. So like, it doesn't really matter if I'm going to be on my cycle or not. A lot of times, like, I do feel like when my cycle is coming, I get a lot more, I feel things stronger. But I can be in mania, or like really happy, or I could be in depression, really sad when my period comes. It just really depends on whatever my mind is feeling like doing. I don't know. But yeah, so I don't really like when she says that, when she says like, oh, you know, it's probably your period coming, because my period has nothing to do with it. I have bipolar disorder, and sometimes I'm depressed. That's really just what it is. Anyway, yeah, so bipolar disorder is really messed up with my like family ties. My relationship with my nephew, he's come to visit from North Carolina for the month, and he doesn't, and at first, like, we were getting along really greatly, but then I fell into depression, and so I haven't really been able to be myself and like play around with him and be the way I know that he expects me to be or needs me to be. So I think that's part of the reason why now he doesn't really like to be around me. But yeah, so that's another way. I'm about to cry now. No, don't do it. The other thing that really bothers me about bipolar disorder is the fact that it it messes with my soul. It's not necessarily that I hear voices or anything like that, but it's mostly just like being like my biggest bully. Like, when I go through depression and things of that nature, sometimes like just the feeling of being sad is there, but once that feeling gets there, then like my brain starts working overtime, and I have like racing thoughts of just like everything that's wrong. So a lot of times it's, you know, those thoughts surrounded about me being a bad person, or and I connect that to why my family is distant from me, or why I've lost friends, or why me and my boyfriend aren't on good terms, or whatever the case may be. Or it might be about the way I look. I might get really insecure about my appearance and feel like no matter what, I won't look good enough and stuff of that nature. Compare myself to other people a lot and stuff like that. That's usually what happens when I'm depressed, so I hate that. But anyway, this video is really, really long. I do plan to make more videos about me having bipolar disorder, and if I do decide to take medication, my experience with that. But I also want to talk deeper about family relationships and like relationships period. I want to talk about suicidal thoughts and things like that, a little bit more serious topics. I don't want to let the disorder define me, but I do want to be like somebody who girls like me can, you know, look to. But anyway, I'm ending the video now because this is about to be 20 minutes. It was just getting a little bit too long, so I'm gonna end it now, and I'm gonna end it here. Bye.